Hello and welcome to this special conversation at Catch. The new Real Estate Act comes into effect today across the country. Now, this is an act over which there has been a lot of hype. It's a project which has been in the pipeline for a very long time. On the face of it, it essentially achieves to strike a balance between two ends. One is, of course, promoting the interests of the real estate industry, that is more development in the real estate sector, and on the same hand, trying to safeguard the interests of buyers. We'll be trying to understand what are the pros and cons, what's good and what's bad about this act today in conversation with my colleague Neeraj. Neeraj, so first of all, the Real Estate, what is it called? Regulation and Development Act.
Yeah.
What's the good thing about it?
See, Charu, for the last 8 to 10 years, real estate buyers, all those people who invested in lakhs of real estate homes, they were taken for a ride by the real estate developers. The money was taken by the real estate developers, but the possessions were not given. So after many years of deliberations, this act has come as a hope, a ray of hope for all those people who just think that now finally their projects, their dream homes would be delivered to them. Right. So definitely it comes as a ray of hope.
So what are the good things? What are the pluses about this act? What is that thing that is really to look forward to?
See, Charu, in this act, what government has ensured is that earlier what used to happen was that the developer will take money from you and will buy a piece of land elsewhere, and then he will launch another project over there, then will take money from people and then buy another piece of land. What he was doing was he was doing something illegal. He was taking your money and launching another project. This is the reason 7 out of 10 projects have not been delivered on time, and when we just try to just calculate what is the amount of time which has been in terms of delay, 7 to 10 years is an average time. I know of people who booked a home in 2007, their project has still not been completed. There are people who have actually repaid their EMIs, but their projects have not been delivered. So this is the problem. So what
developers were doing is that they were taking money from investors and using that money to set up a fund through which they will buy another piece of land and start another project. So keep on launching projects, one project after another, while not taking care of the completion of the one already launched.
Exactly. So now this new Real Estate Act, what it does is it will ensure that 70% of the money that has been taken in the name of a particular project will remain in an escrow account, and that money will have to be used only for the development of that particular project. So now developers will not have the option of launching a new project taking money from somebody else.
Okay, so that will definitely come as a hope, as good news for buyers. But is there a loophole?
Yes, Charu, there are so many loopholes. The biggest loophole is that we are not sure whether this act will be actually implemented retrospectively or it would be only for the future projects. Okay. The biggest problem is that thousands of crore has been invested in the past projects. If those buyers do not get their, this act does not get implemented for those projects, then there is a free run for the buyers. They will say, okay, we will mend our ways for the future projects. But what about those projects which have not been delivered? Right. People are filing FIRs against real estate developers. A famous real estate developer, Amrapali Projects, day before yesterday, an FIR was filed against him by a home buyer because his project was a project called Leisure Park, which has not been delivered. So people are going to police, people are going to court.
Unitech is already a case in point.
Yes, Sanjay Chandra, who was CMD of the company, he has gone to jail once or twice. So people are actually taking up the cases again, but the problem so far has been that
I remember there was a lot of uproar a few months back against MS Dhoni as well for being the brand ambassador of Amrapali, which was in the ire, which was in the firing line of many buyers, only because of this problem that the flats were not delivered on time.
Exactly, Charu, it's a big issue in the country. Real estate is one sector that has the power of bringing down economies. It did with the US. The subprime crisis was a result of real estate crisis. It can happen in India also. The government must do something. They have come out with a very good act. The only problem is that now, because it's a state and it's a state subject. So
real estate is a state subject.
It's a state subject. The center can only create laws, but it's ultimately it depends upon the state whether they want to actually implement the law in the real form or they want to dilute it. So the biggest problem would be actually we will have to look at it how states implement the act.
So how have the states behaved so far? What are the indications coming
So far 13 states have already notified this act. and they are in the process of setting up real estate regulatory authorities. They have 3 months time, but then there are 29 states in the country, and they have to take a call. And there have been some loopholes also. For example, there was a news report that said that in Uttar Pradesh, developers have started giving possession of buyers by taking partial completion certificates incorporated through the UP Apartment Act sometimes back. Now, this clause allows the builders to deliver possession of buyers for fit-outs, allowing the latter to carry out interior work, even though basic amenities or infrastructure are missing. You know, so what they
exactly a surreptitious bypassing of
exactly
provisions of the new
so
act.
There is a fear that a lot of states will, you know, in connivance with the real estate developers, they will give some sort of a loophole so that you know they just get a free run. And so the biggest thing that the central government must ensure is that the act should be for the previous projects also. It should be implemented retrospectively. It should not be just for the future projects. This is the only way lakhs of real estate home buyers, they will get possession of their homes. This is the most important thing.
Will there be some kind of a regulator, a nodal agency at the center that will oversee whether the act is being implemented in other states?
Yeah, definitely. Every state has to set up a local regulatory body. Which
but that will be state level.
Yeah,
will
exactly.
there be any coordinating body at the center?
See, definitely the state will actually overlook the act. So that will be a part of it. But yeah, the implementation will actually be in the ambit of the state regulatory boards. So they are in charge of because it's as I told you, it's a state subject. Yeah.
There's not much that the center can do to really get after the states to ensure that the act is implemented.
As a Union Urban Development Minister Venkaiah Naidu has said that he has had a talk with the state governments, and they have said that they will not dilute the act and will implement as it has been enacted in its full powers. So he's hopeful, the buyers are hopeful, and so are we.
Okay. Neeraj, will this act in any way impact prices in the real estate sector?
See, Charu, it's a question that nobody has been able to answer. We saw a downturn in 2008 which has continued till date, and the prices have actually come down, but they have not come down to the extent people had expected it to be, because the problem is that there is a certain input cost that has already been put in those projects. So if somebody has created an apartment which is about 1200 to 1500 square feet, it's a luxury apartment, he has already taken money for that thing, so he would not be able to sell it at a less cost. But yes, there is a push towards affordable housing now, so maybe the future projects would be less costly. They would not be in the range of 1 crore or 2 crore or 5 crore. They would be in the range of 20 lakhs to 35 lakhs or maybe 50 lakhs at the most for the lower middle class and the middle class, so that they are able to purchase those homes. But yes,
no direct correlation between the new act and the possibility of prices.
Not at all.
Does it hit the black money in the real estate sector also in any way?
I don't see any connection between black money and this thing. Whatever, I mean, there is a lot of connection between this thing, but RERA does not doesn't touch upon the black money issue at all.
Right. So anything else worth noting for in this new act?
Charu, I think this is all. Let's hope that the states implement the act as it has been notified by the center, and they do not provide any kind of loopholes to the local developers. Right. And let's hope for the best on behalf of the lakhs of people who have purchased their homes.
Right.